In this video, I will be uninstalling my valve covers and surge tanks and replacing them with a coated set from Fabtech Performance. However, this video will cover the uninstall and reinstall if you're just doing the valve covers and surge tanks. We're just about to get started on the plenums and the valve covers here on this E55. This is an 05 W211 E55 supercharged V8. So to first get started here, we're gonna get the straight slot screwdriver, my good attitude, and we're gonna start taking this off of the supercharger air intake, and then we'll be able to see the valve covers better, and then we'll get to the coil packs. These air cleaners, all you have to do is pull up. They're sitting on there on some rubber, and then you'll have your breathers from your valve covers on the back of the driver's side here. That's just a rubber hose that you pull off. Gotta really make that look easy, don't I? And then this whole apparatus comes off. Air filters off. Can tell that the valve covers are easily accessible, as well as these plenums. So the next move we're gonna do is take all these coil packs off. They gotta come off anyways, and I just wanna have easier access to all the bolts on the side. You're gonna need to get some of these Torx style sockets. And for each one of these, it's gonna be a T30. So we're gonna rock a T30, just take all the coil packs off. 1/4 inch drive. All right, so now we got the coil packs off. I'm just laying them to the side because I don't really need to take all the spark plug wires off. It's not something that I need to do. If you feel like you need to, just line them up, organized on the ground, or just be organized when you're doing something like this. I'm just gonna set them to the side. But next step, we're gonna take the breather hose off here. And then on the driver's side, I'm gonna disconnect this fuel hose. Yes, some fuel is gonna come out. We're gonna move this hose because it sits like right on the valve cover. And then we'll take this breather hose off of this one here. And we will get an E socket, I'll tell you which size, and we're gonna start disconnecting the valve covers. And then we'll clean the surfaces and put the new ones on. Valve cover bolts, we're gonna use an E12 socket here. That's what an E socket looks like. And we're gonna start taking off all the valve cover bolts. Pretty simple. And like I said, we're gonna disconnect this fuel line first on this side, so stay tuned for that. All right, we got all the bolts out of the valve cover, at least loose. And I noticed that all of them are the same size, besides the two that are on this little breather spot that you have to seal separate from the valve cover. So those are the only two long bolts. So if you pull them out and you're all worried about the sizes, the only two long ones go up here where the breather is. Now that we're all disconnected, should just come right off. There is this tricky bracket right here. Once you get the bolt out of it, she should just come out. It's a little bit more difficult because I have all the coil packs here because I'm being lazy. But even having the coil packs there, bam, there's the old valve cover. There's my DIY wrinkle coating. It's already coming off though. So their valve covers are gonna be sweet. They're gonna be able to handle the heat. I like to just cover this up while I'm still working out here so I don't drop nothing in there. All right, the fuel line hose is a 17. Probably put a towel down. I'm not too worried about it. Just kidding. Hella worried about it. There's gonna be a bit of fuel in there. Kind of wait until it just stops. And then I'm gonna, while I'm waiting, disconnect all these or loosen them up, pull this valve cover as well. I'm almost done pulling all these bolts out. There's one back here that's a little tougher just because there's not as much space. So I'm actually gonna use an E12 long socket to get to that last one. There's always a more difficult side when you're working on stuff like this. Driver side's a little bit more difficult just because of the fuel line and that one bolt back there. But for the most part, Mercedes makes it pretty easy for you. And then just a reminder that the 4 bolts on top are longer than the rest on this side. Pulling this last bolt on the valve cover right now, just because it's in a little bit more of a difficult space, but it's all doable with a good attitude and a smile. And I always like to remind myself when we're doing the more difficult side that, you know, I love working on cars. So I love doing this. This is why we do this. Or at least that's what my coworker always tells me. You love working on cars. So, driver side's a little bit more difficult, but at the end, you get through it. Bam. Whoa. Right now that the valve covers are off on both sides, the next step I'm gonna do is prep the new ones with the new gaskets Fabtech sent me. And then I will be cleaning the mating surfaces of any oil and install the new valve covers. They're rubber gaskets, so you don't need to do any sealant there. They did all the hard part on that. After you get your gasket on your valve cover and set it all on, I just like to finger tighten with my socket, my E-socket. Finger tighten. I usually start from the middle and work my way out. Just finger tighten them, and then I'll go around and just snug them up good and tight. I mean, if you want to torque spec them, go ahead. Good and tight works for me. All right, I just got done tightening my coil packs. I'm gonna plug them in. Now this side is done, and we're just gonna repeat on the other side there. All right, I got this side all tightened up. So just a nice reminder to reconnect your fuel line here, because the last thing you wanna do is start up your car, have fuel dumping everywhere. Just a friendly reminder. Another friendly reminder to get the breather hoses back on the valve covers as well. This one will go into your air cleaner, and the passenger side is right there. All right, this is the finished product. I have all the coil packs done. The valve covers are tight. Fuel line's connected. The breathers are connected. This is a great way to just spruce up your engine bay. But also, if you're just doing a valve cover, that covers that as well. If you are done with your job and you're not doing the surge tanks or the plenums here, then you can turn off this video. Please feel free and subscribe or follow me. Instagram, it's Barnyard Garage. YouTube here, BYG Court. Now we are gonna continue this video and do the surge tanks. For those who stuck around, after the valve covers, I am gonna be replacing my surge tanks because I have them coated in yellow as well. But if you're just doing the gaskets, where I'm starting, I've never done this before, but 7mm socket on the top back here is what I'm gonna do. And then T30 on all these guys. Just be careful, try to loosen them. I try to loosen them from the middle out. I still want to crack nothing. But we are going to take a 7mm, loosen all of these, and then see where we go from there. All right, I left all the bolts in this one just because I don't want to get confused, and I laid these ones out on the ground so I can see what size they are. It kind of looks like they get longer as they go up, and I'll show you a video of that. But now that I got them all out, including this one, loosened up the coupler back there, pretty easy. Surge tank comes right out. And there's a gasket here that I got a replacement from Fabtech, so I'm gonna put that down. But we're gonna take this one off, get all the hardware in line, and then reinstall it. Before I do anything else, there's just some like dust, debris in here. So before I touch anything, I'm gonna vacuum it out really quick and then pull the gaskets off. This one came off with that plenum, which is cool. But I'm gonna vacuum it really quick and then get all my hardware in line and then reinstall the new ones. So in relation to the surge tank, that's the sizes of the bolts going back. With an exception of that back one, it looks like they just get larger as they go. So feel free and pause this, and that'll be what you need for the length of your bolts. All right, to clean these surfaces, I didn't really want to use a wire brush or anything because I don't want to mess with the mounting surface too much. So all I did was grab some brake clean, covered up the valve cover so I don't mess with that because it's brand new, and sprayed it and then wiped it down. Comes out super clean. Does the job. All right, I am stoked. Everything is finally all bolted up. Snugged all these up, did good and tight. Don't forget to tighten those with your 7mm. And if you've made it this far, all that's left is the air cleaners and the final coupler that goes to the throttle body there. But it's pretty self-explanatory. I think this looks great. Hit up Fabtech. This is an easy way to spruce up your engine bay. Pretty easy too, got it done in an afternoon. And I'm doing it out in the driveway with just a couple of hand tools. So super doable, easy, not bad.